Good morning. I haven't slept well all week, so I've been having some difficulty focusing and articulating my thoughts, organizing them really. But there is something I want to talk about. And if you are not familiar with who I am Michelle Clenard. I am an intuitive energy practitioner and a Thrive Life coach, as well as a holistic with a W, as in wholeness based wellness educator. And I want to begin this video by acknowledging all the support and concern the people around me have expressed in so many ways. I'm so grateful for all the outpouring of kindness, love, and compassion regarding an upcoming surgical procedure. I am having to have a tumor removed from my body. I've known about this tumor for almost 12 years. This tumor, in fact, is this very same adrenal gland tumor that I'm having removed. Is actually the same tumor that caused the significant symptom storm and health crisis 12 years ago that was really the catalyst that put me back on a natural healing path, which is really something I feel is I'm very passionate about it, and I really believe that discovering and teaching how much influence and power to influence we have over our body, over our whole self, because to me, body, mind, energy, spirit, they're all connected. They're all one and the same. We embody all aspects of the human experience, and that's part of where wholeness comes in my practice. It's the whole person. So if you have a physical pain, just looking at it from a physical perspective, you may miss an underlying cause of that symptom or issue because you're only addressing it physically. Yet there are times when we need to address things physically. For 12 years, I have literally reduced and managed symptoms and provided relief that Western medicine could not provide for me. I did not fall into a diagnosis, a label, or a diagnostic box that could be treated in a way that wasn't just masking symptoms and causing more symptoms and side effects from medications. So I turned to holistic natural healing to help myself 12 years ago, and in the course of that whole process for me, I learned a lot of things that have helped me help others. And the bottom line is I'm having something surgically removed, and most everybody has been amazingly supportive, and I am incredibly grateful. It's literally this support that's keeping me grounded, and it makes it easier for me to embody my physical body during this really challenging time when I'm facing a medical issue and a surgical procedure. There are also a handful of people who have reached out to me, and I presume them to be well-meaning. These are, I would say, mostly other spiritual practitioners and professionals, and they are very well-meaning, offering suggestions and reaching out to me, but their suggestions are in the form of questioning my choice to have a surgery. Or actually, I've had at least one statement that blatantly suggested that by choosing to have a surgical procedure like this, I'm not walking my walk as a spiritual professional or an energy healer. And I wanted to address that. For me, it it's something that kind of rolled off of my shoulders for the most part because I trust my body and I've been listening to it and developing a practice of listening to my body for long enough that my level of self-trust and awareness of my body's wisdom, it's pretty loud, it's pretty clear. And the decision that I have made to have the surgery, first of all, there's really not a whole lot of choice to be made. This tumor has to come out of my body. It started to grow and it started to cause problems, and not removing it would literally put me at risk for other organ damage or issues, or potentially death by heart attack or stroke unexpectedly. So when I say I'm making a choice, and I'm having well-meaning people come back to me questioning that choice and even suggesting that it's not aligned with what I do, those are really judgment statements that are not being made with full awareness of the full scope of my medical issue. And it's a blanket statement based on, half truth, half information. So, like I said, this tumor's been here in my body for 12 years, and it's not welcome in my body. I've wanted it gone since the day I found it, but that wasn't possible early in my journey. I had so many symptoms that the tumor was actually found accidentally because of all the other symptoms. They were doing a scan of my kidneys because I was having like 7 to 13 kidney stones at a time in each kidney and a lot of pain that goes along with that at the time. And honestly, before I even found out about the tumor, my health had been unraveling slowly on all levels, mental, emotional, and physical, for decades by the time this tumor was found. But it was really finding out about the tumor itself and knowing that I could not receive medical solution or help at the time. It just wasn't available 12 years ago. It kind of forced me to acknowledge some of the uncomfortable feelings and trauma and painful baggage that I had been carrying around with me my whole life. I did seek medical solutions at that time because I really needed help feeling better at that time. I was barely functional. I was so sick, and I had no energy or resources or just mental bandwidth to tackle my health issues on my own. But I saw 7 different specialists. I was referred out constantly because no doctors could find a viable solution for me at the time. And after 17 tries, I kind of found my way back to holistic modalities and treatments for relief, and that's how I found my way back here. So I think that, just to clarify, this video is really about clarifying the full story of what's going on with my body and my decision to have the tumor surgically removed from my body. But also to address how we respond to each other and our choices. And, for nearly 11 years, I have successfully decreased my physical symptoms, even though this tumor is still in my body, with a non-physical, holistic approach. It's been successful. It's worked for me, and it works for other people too. But in the process, I've had some bonuses, like decreased the mental and emotional issues and symptoms that I had long struggled to manage since my childhood. And during this time, I've also developed a higher level of self-awareness, body awareness, connection to my body's wisdom, and a level of self-acceptance that I've never even imagined were attainable for me, much less sustainable. So while I've been succeeding at being symptom-free using this intuitive non-physical approach and facilitating the same healing activation in this way and many others for my clients using the same approach. It's time for me to address this in a different way. It's time. I feel like it's almost like an invitation, a calling to address this in a physical way now. So I'm answering that call and saying, yes, it's time. My body says it's time to let go of the tumor, and I'm willing to do that. So late last year, when I noticed the return of some former symptoms, that was like my body's signal to say, hey, let's check out this tumor. And that's when I learned at the start of this year that it had grown and that my labs are indicating high levels of cortisol in my body. So that's another sign that a medical intervention is necessary in order to save my life, potentially, but definitely to avoid the high risk of damaging other organs or causing any other medical conditions that can come from this. So I just want to repeat this for anyone who questioned my decision. First of all, you didn't have all the information, and having all the information is really important before you put something out there, because it's really a choice that I am making to have a potentially life-saving medical intervention, and it's a signal from my body that I have heard through all of my senses, and it is time to approach this tumor from a physical perspective. Spiritual, emotional, energetic approaches have been really effective, and so I appreciate that is something that you're passionate about. If you're one of the people who have suggested that I'm not acting in alignment with my own teachings and practices. But my belief is that all different types of healing and wellness approaches there is no one size fits all. Like, we can't just go, well, we're spiritual, so we only address things spiritually. We have a physical body. We're spiritual beings, souls in a physical body, and sometimes we have to take care of our body physically. That's my approach, and I am 100% aligned with it. And to me, there is no separation between the physical. I mean, I have sensed a physical separation between my physical body and my mental, emotional, and energy or spirit body. I have felt disconnected, misaligned, but I'm not feeling that way presently. That was how I used to feel, and now I don't feel that way. I feel very much in alignment. And when we feel it, we're always aligned one way or another. We are always more than just one aspect of the human experience. We are always more than just our body or our thoughts or our feelings or our soul or spirit. We're always a whole human being, but it is common to not feel whole or to feel disconnected in some way. I have felt it myself personally. But the approach that I apply every day is one of wholeness, and it's that as a spiritual practitioner, I still have to be open to the other aspects of my experience, of my human experience, which include addressing things physically sometimes, and not just one way. So here's where I am. I sat with this for a little bit because, again, things have been really slow for me to process and focus and organize thoughts, but mostly because I've been kind of tired lately. I'm having cortisol spikes, and I just feel exhausted a lot. So I'm taking things at my own pace, and that's just how it is. But I want you to know a couple of things. That addressing my physical issues at a physical level does not make me less of a spiritual person or practitioner. It simply means that I am choosing to acknowledge all aspects of my being. It means I'm listening to the messages of my body, and that my body and my spirit they're one and the same. I'm listening to both. So I am walking my walk, and I'm doing that by practicing exactly what I believe to be a balanced wholeness approach to healing and being human. So to question whether I or anyone is doing the right thing if they're having a physical or surgical or medical treatment. And this could include if somebody decides to take medication or, to go see a chiropractor or to have dental work done or to have a surgery or to receive acupuncture or Reiki or some other form of energy healing. To suggest that one way is the right way, or that a choice to address something physically goes against one's own spiritual practice, it's got to be rooted in misunderstanding, or it might just be overstepping your boundaries. So, I'm bringing this up because I really want, especially spiritual practitioners, to maybe do and just do a little bit better than judging people. That's really it. Than judging people based on your own limited perspective. And it's really like suggesting that I should bypass the physical aspect of the human experience. That's the only other thing I can think of. It's really not helpful to the recipient, whether that's a colleague or a friend or a neighbor or a client. It can foster mistrust in oneself or discourage listening and or trusting your own body wisdom, which is also spiritual wisdom or soul wisdom. And it can also it can add stress symptoms to an already stressful time. So this is my body. It's part of my whole being. I trust the messages that it's sending 100%. I cannot accurately predict the outcome, but I do believe that this removal of the tumor for me is like an opportunity to give my body more room to heal and grow, to feel comfort. And I don't believe in a one-size-fits-all approach to healing or wellness, much less to being human. If I were to have a heart attack, and I'm using that as an example because it's something that happens to the physical body in the human experience often. And it's just one of any number of issues that a physical human body is capable of experiencing due to the dynamic relationship of function between our felt, sensed, and lived experiences. I would not choose to address the heart attack or heal the heart through prayer or emotional or energetic causes, at least not initially, because instead I would want to seek emergency medical care at the hands of a hopefully capable surgeon to save my life. Because that's the first step. The physical sometimes has to be the first step. And I believe all types of healing and wellness can coexist and in fact are complementary to one another, especially if and when we learn to listen to the signals our body gives us as guidance toward fulfilling what it needs. And that can be really difficult in the noisy, busy modern world that we live in. But I'm feeling good about it. It's a decision I've made and I'm sticking to it, and I don't feel bad, and I'm not apologizing for my choices as a spiritual professional or a spiritual practitioner to have a physical procedure. I'm not apologizing. And I'm not changing my mind. It has to be done. It either has to be done now or it will have to be done as an emergency at some point, and I would rather not wait until my body is in crisis or potentially in crisis. Some alternatives to kind of, responding to someone's choice to address things physically or surgically or in some other similar situation is I encourage you to ask questions instead of making statements. A few questions that you could ask that would foster a sense of supportiveness and safety while ensuring that your well-meaning concerns are addressed would be, are you currently exploring alternative solutions or ideas for healing? Are you considering a second opinion? Are you open to suggestions or to hear other perspectives? Or just what type of support do you need? What do you need? The fix-it type of support, or just listening support, or some other type? So we should just ask. That's how we do better. Another alternative is to simply state your support, no questions asked. This one's highly recommended if you're not in the person's inner circle of family, friends, or contracted practitioners. Here are a few statements that could be helpful. I trust that you know what you need. You are a good steward of your own well-being. I know you will do what is right for you. And of course, the other alternative, there's a third, and that is to say nothing. That's an option. I am and I will continue to choose what's right for me and my body, regardless of opinions or judgment or whatever. I will continue to honor myself by showing up in integrity with what I practice, what I preach, and what I teach, by listening to my body and doing what I know deep within my body's wisdom is best for me. And I hope that if you are watching or listening to this, that you will do your best to honor your humanness on all levels. Uncomfortable and complex as it can be to embody the human experience, it's the best we can do is to honor it on all levels as needed. I hope that you will consider listening to your body, and that I also hope that we all individually and collectively, especially those in spiritual roles, will remember that our physicality is part of our spiritual experience within our human body. And may we honor and trust each other to tend to our individual needs and our collective needs with love and acceptance. Thank you for watching. I'll see you all soon.